Well, welcome back. We are in Proverbs 8, and where we are continuing to speak about the speech of fools and the speech of the wise. Last time we saw and were challenged to consider the thought patterns of the fool and the wise. The fool does not want understanding, but merely to project his opinion. The fool is not interested in hearing other sides, but merely in isolating himself so he can do whatever he wants and justify himself. We were encouraged last time that the wise seek understanding, they seek truth, and they seek to speak in useful ways. Today we are warned against the destructiveness of foolish speech, and we are warned to guard our tongues against it. We begin in Proverbs 18, verses 8 and 9. The words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body. Whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys. And so here we are warned about the whisperer, the one who gossips and spreads slander. The connection with verse 9, whoever is slack in his work is a brother to him who destroys. The one who's slack in his work in the New Testament, the idle person, is oftentimes connected with the busybody. And so Paul exhorts people to be married, to have families, to raise children, so that they're not idle, because the idle become busy bodies rather than busy doing good for others. They are in everyone's business, gossiping and talking about them. And the worst part of this is that the proverb tells us the words of a whisperer are like sweet morsels. They're like candy and sweet desserts. We look at them and we want them. We enjoy them. We know they're wrong, but we want to hear, and our tastes have been trained so that what we want is to listen to that gossip and that slander. There's something that strokes our pride to being in the know, to hearing a secret and being a part of the in-group plays to our pride. But it's destructive to those around us. It's destructive to our communities. Gossip destroys trust. Where gossip flourishes, people do not trust each other. Gossip destroys people as it spreads rumors about them and calls into question their reputations, oftentimes wrongly. Gossip is destructive, but we want it because we like that feeling of being in the know. Moreover, and almost worse, for some reason, gossip is entertaining to us. We like to hear about the drama in other people's lives. It's entertaining. And I think a part of this is the training that we get through our news consumption. Much of what passes for news is little more than gossip. What celebrity is dating who? Who's getting divorced? Who's sleeping with who? Our celebrity news, so much of it is little more than gossip. Even our news about politicians is oftentimes little better than gossip. But we want to know, and we feel that we need to know, and that we have a right to know. And the more we watch it, the more our desires are trained to desire and to enjoy gossip as entertainment. When we hear about that celebrity who's getting a divorce, we're not going to write to the celebrity. We're probably not even going to pray for that celebrity. We just want to know because we're interested in that celebrity, and it is entertaining to us. We find entertainment in the pain and the drama and the corruption of other people. This is a sign that our hearts are not right, and it's something to be repented of. The fact that gossip so easily goes into our hearts is a reminder that our hearts are corrupt and they need to be transformed. And so the more we enjoy gossip, the more we need to pray and ask the Lord to change our hearts, to give us compassion for the people that we're talking about. At the very least, we should be praying for the people that we hear about. And then we need to be careful that we do not spread the gossip. Where we talk about things, and it's not gossip, we are talking about it for a specific purpose. For example, when abuse is reported and abuse is brought to public light, say abuse in a church or in a family, that is for the purpose of protecting people, of rescuing those who are being harmed. That is for the purpose of making sure the perpetrator never gets to harm a person again. That's not gossip. That is necessary. Gossip is where we idly talk about the drama in other people's lives for our own entertainment and for the feeling of being in the know. Or perhaps we are more malicious than that and we don't like the person, so we delight in spreading around these stories about them because, well, it's true after all, and we want to see that person torn down. So we really need to check our motives and be careful that we are loving people and that we are speaking for good purposes, right purposes, useful purposes. We are not merely using others for our own enjoyment and entertainment and pride. So, the speech of fools is whispering, and fools listen to it, and it's a sign of our corruption. Repent of listening to gossip and of enjoying gossip, and then begin disciplining yourself to listen to less and to cut it out of your life as much as possible. And that can begin by cutting out the gossip that passes for news, celebrity news, things about politicians' personal lives that are trivial. Let's cut that stuff out as God's people. Let's go on, verse 10 and 12. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man runs into it and is safe. A rich man's wealth is his strong city, and like a high wall in his imagination. Before destruction, a man's heart is haughty, but humility comes before honor. Now, here we are warned against pride. We are to be a humble people. And I love the contrast. Verse 10, the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous man runs into it and he is safe. The one who is humble enough to run to the Lord is safe. Now, running to the Lord means certainly taking refuge in him, running to him and calling out to him to save us and protect us. But it also means walking in his ways. For example, not being involved in gossip, restraining our words, not saying everything that comes to mind. We humbly submit ourselves to the Lord, submit our wills to the Lord, submit our tongues to the Lord. And we find that he is a strong tower. But the prideful take comfort in their own means and their own protection. So the rich man, his wealth is his strong city. But then listen, and like a high wall in his imagination. He's trusting in his wealth. It's like a high wall that shields him from all the consequences of his deeds. But that's only in his imagination. When we're prideful, we think, I am untouchable. I am invincible. I can do and say whatever I want. But in reality, our protection is imaginary, because it's the Lord who upholds the moral order. And so as we submit to him, he is the one who is our strong tower. When we rely upon ourselves, our safety is fleeting and imaginary. So don't think that just because you can push others around and you can bully them and you can protect yourself, whether it's through money or through any other kind of power, don't think that you will escape the justice of God. Instead, submit yourself to God in humility, and you'll find that you are safe. Whereas if you trust in yourself, your safety is imaginary. Notice that he says, before destruction, a man's heart is haughty, but humility comes before honor. As this Bible says over and over, honor yourself before God, and in due time he will exalt you, but that the Lord opposes the proud. So the fool walks in his pride, is content being proud, and guards his pride. But the humble, the wise are humble, and they restrain their words. They hold back their opinions. They seek understanding, and they refuse to tear others down. Verse 13 to 17. If one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and shame. A man's spirit will endure sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before the great. The one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examines him. So here are some examples relating to pride and humility. The prideful person says, oh, I know what to say, and doesn't listen. The prideful person says, I know the issue and I know the answer, and he doesn't hear the other side. He just assumes that he can jump in and that he knows. And in the end, his words wind up crushing the spirit, which is worse than physical illness. He winds up being useless. And so his advice is not sought. But the one who is the humble person, does not give an answer before he hears. He listens. And he seeks to understand. And he not only listens to the first person who speaks, but he listens to the other side as well. I can't tell you how many times I've regretted forgetting this principle. And I've heard one person thought, oh, this is totally right, and acted on that, only then to hear the other side and realized, oh, I wish I would have heard the other side, because there's actually a lot more to this than I thought there was. The wise don't assume, I understand and I am so discerning. They hear out both sides and they weigh both sides. The intelligent man acquires knowledge, seeks all the facts, and then because he has heard both sides, because he has acquired knowledge, because he has sought out the facts, because he has listened, then he has something useful to contribute, and his gift brings him before the great. The one who is humble enough to listen, to seek knowledge and understand, to find all the facts, to avoid quick takes and speaking without knowing, the one who is humble enough to seek the truth, then has something worthwhile to contribute. And his gift will bring him before the great. So we need to ask ourselves, when I speak, is it useful? When I speak, have I taken the time to understand? Have I taken the time to listen to the different sides? Have I acquired as many facts as I can? Or do I just jump in with my own opinion? Do I just wait for other people to stop talking so I can jump in and say what I want to say and I really haven't listened to them? That's not the way of wisdom. The way of wisdom is to seek all the facts, to hear all the sides, to weigh and to consider, to take your time, and then you will have something useful to contribute. And then other people will value what you have to say. Humility, taking our time, not being the first to jump in, pays off in the end as people come to value our opinions and our thoughts, and we have something genuinely useful to offer them. Let's go on. Verse 18 to 21. The lot puts an end to quarrels and decides between powerful contenders. An offended brother is more unyielding than a strong city, and quarreling is like the bars of a castle. From the fruit of a man's mouth, his stomach is satisfied. He is satisfied by the yield of his lips. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. And so here we are warned, the speech is powerful. And in fact, there's this metaphor about eating by our mouths. And so it's saying that you will eat the consequences of your speech. As you speak, if you speak as a fool, you are going to bear the consequences. If you speak as one who is wise, you will bear the consequences. And the consequences will not be trivial. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. James reminds us in James chapter 3 that the tongue is like a small ember that sets on fire a great forest, or like a small rudder that steers a great ship. And he says, and the tongue is set on fire by hell. And so he says, so restrain your words. And here we are warned, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And those who use it are going to consume its consequences. So don't be hasty. Don't jump into a quarrel. Jumping into a quarrel, you don't know where that quarrel will go. You don't know how it will end. You don't know if it will be resolved. So be cautious jumping into a fight. Be cautious needlessly offending others. Be cautious speaking before you hear both sides. Be cautious about speaking without listening. Weigh your words. Seek knowledge. Seek information. Seek wisdom. Make sure you have something useful to contribute. And then ask yourself, is this the time to speak? Am I the person to speak? Is this useful? And be very careful with your words, because you will consume the consequences of your words. This is true in any number of contexts in marriage, particularly when you're angry at your husband or wife. Restrain your words. Remember, you will bear the consequences for what you speak, and you don't want to hurt this person that you're married to, even if in the moment you kind of do. So restrain your words. Remember that there will be consequences. Your words are not inconsequential matters. So weigh them, restrain them, and speak for the good of the other person. As parents, our words matter. Stray words can crush our children, crush their spirits more than any physical sickness can. We carelessly tell our kids that they're worthless, that they are foolish, that we just don't even want to be around them, and they remember. And those words have consequences, and we will bear the penalty for those words that we've carelessly spoken. On the other hand, words for our kids can build them up. I love you. I'm proud of you. You're great. And I think that you can do this. You're competent. Those kinds of words build them up. You're a load of trouble. Or, I'm so glad you're a part of this family. We need to be careful with our words, because we will eat the consequences of what we speak. We will bear the consequences. So speak to build up and not to tear down. In workplaces, in church, Careless words can tear down. In churches, people come in and they thoughtlessly complain, and they only speak to complain. And pretty soon people don't want to volunteer anymore. On the other hand, those who speak to build up so often see then other people do a much better job of what they're offering to do because you've built them up and your words are life-giving. And so we need to realize our words are powerful and they have consequences. And we need to be careful that what we speak is true, but not just true, useful, wise, that is beneficial to those around us, that we're not simply venting, that we're not simply starting a quarrel to satisfy our own desires. We need to be careful with our words and speak to build others up rather than to tear them down, because life and death are in the power of the tongue. How seriously do you take your words? Are you thoughtful, or are you too quick to speak? Are you prayerful? Do you apologize when you speak badly? Do you speak intentionally to build others up and to encourage them? I challenge you to pay attention to your words, to ask the Lord to help you to discern whether or not your speech is helpful and beneficial, or if it is self-centered and destructive. And then to speak for the good of others, to speak to be a blessing to others, to speak to build them up. Speak in ways that are fitting for the wise and honoring to the Lord. I will see you next time when we finish chapter 18 and begin chapter 19.